How's it going, everyone? I'm Venomous Stare, the guy who brings you all things StarCraft II. I've been called the Teddy Bridgewater of StarCraft II by some, and I would like to think that I'm more of the Brett Favre, but here we have a Zerg versus Terran. Two good players, one of them very fun to watch and very creative, a little bit sneaky. His name's RuFF. Here in the bottom left, he's the Terran player on Whirlwind. His opponent, spawning in cross positions, is RuFF, a guy from Colorado who's funny and has a stream. The link will be in the description. And he has a little, his insignia or symbol for his clan is Vibe with, or not Vibe, but a Mutalisk with Pepe. And isn't that just amazing? Like the Muta and Pepe. Two things that really couldn't be any better. If you combine them, wow, that's just groundbreaking. So we see RuFF is going for an early gas build here. He already has 20 gas reeled in. This is something that RuFF likes to do. He is someone who gets early gas and then will surprise you with an early reactor or an early factory. Something he's been doing for a long time. In general, RuFF is someone who will favor aggressive play over passive play. He's someone who will play abnormal to get early game units out and keep you on the back foot, especially Zerg players. In 2010, whenever the metagame was negative towards Zerg or favored Terran, RuFF was one of these players who would do these no-holds-barred cheeses against Zerg players and would follow them up with 2 port cloak Banshees and just do all kinds of nasty things to Zergs. And he was someone who really did a lot of unusual things, someone who you couldn't really hold out and predict, someone who you couldn't count on to do metagame things. So back then when Overlords had less speed, he was someone who was very hard to play against because of his creativity, his unorthodoxness, and quite frankly his cheesiness. And in 2016 his style is a little bit more developed. Of course the maps are bigger now, they favor macro play more, but he's someone who will do builds like this still. Get these early factories. Now if I were to guess, he's going to lift. Now I might be wrong, but I was assuming that this early reactor was going to be for quick Hellion. Now these 2 Marines are good because he can obviously fill this bunker up with 2 Marines, and you can't really tell how many Marines are in a bunker if you're playing against it. The only really way you can tell is by the DPS administered. So the point is this bunker is going to be able to hold off Lings. So Vibe is going to be hard pressed to get in the front door of RuFF. Now this bunker is completely full of Marines, and RuFF is swap-a-rude and is producing 2 Hellions. Now the fact that he already has 4 Marines protecting him is very good. Vibe has a 3rd base about halfway done. RuFF, notice he's been mining gas the whole time. He's dropped the mule down here. He started his orbital, from his CC. And he's going to start to pressure with these quick Hellions. What do we see for Vibe? Well, his additional queen isn't even finished. It's about to be done. His link speed is about to be done. He's a little bit supply blocked, but he's about to be alleviated of that. 6 lings on the way as the 3rd base finishes for RuFF, the macro Zerg. 3rd base in the wall in for RuFF. Great move. This will prevent counterattacks. 4 Hellions are already out for RuFF, so immediately Vibe is concerned. Notice he shoots up to 14 speedlings. He has a creep tumble already started. Now this 3rd base can't be used, basically. RuFF is going to run in here. He might get trapped. RuFF is someone who's very aggressive with his Hellions. He'll sacrifice them and then make more. He's going to be aggressive here, kill a lot of Lings, and continue to run forward past the Queen. He might even try to dive. Here he goes. Vibe has a lot of Lings. He takes a pursuit angle like Ed Reed, and he's going to clean up these Hellions. That's something RuFF is known for, is being aggressive with Hellions. And sometimes, if your opponents know who you are, they can predict the things that you're going to do. And I think that Vibe knew he was playing RuFF, and after he saw those quick 2 Hellions, he said, oh crap. And he made that extra queen. He got it up there quick. Notice he has 2 forward queens, and 1 over here at the 3rd. He went up to 14 lings. Some Zergs would have said, maybe a Rhett or an Idra would have said, and made more drones and just try to hold that. And that's how RuFF wins games. That's one of the best ways, really, and as far as assets go, one of the best ways that RuFF can win is catching people off guard with his aggression, and having Zergs who want to squeeze out as many drones as possible just lose that little inch to his aggressive, unorthodox play, and then boom, RuFF turns that into a big advantage. He kills lots of drones and then closes his games out in other ways. Notice he's making more Hellions. He has his infamous 3-starport Banshee out, and this is something that RuFF did a lot. Even back in the day, he would go multiple starport Banshee, and back in the day you had to have an evolution chamber just to make a spore crawler. It was tough going for Zerg back when Delta Quadrant and Lost Temple were in the map pool. But this is a bread and butter build of RuFF, and on this patch you can get Banshee speed and cloak without fusion core, and because he has multiple starports here with multiple tech labs, he can get cloak. Now I want you to note he's researching Banshee speed here and not cloak. He can get cloak at any time, but more Hellions are being destroyed here, and Vibe has Hydraling and Queens out, so this is why you don't see Hellions really made much past like the initial 6 unless they have something else with them, and RuFF really didn't kill a lot. If we go to income, Vibe is winning. RuFF has a third base, it's a PF though, and this is interesting. This is something that RuFF does a lot, and something that's hard to play against kind of is Zerg. If you think about it, 3cc Mule is hard to play against as Zerg, right? It's something that Zerg players kind of take for granted, like when it seems like Terran can just throw infinite bio armies at you and they can drop you without repercussions. Wow, it just feels like, wow, Terran's bullshit. Well, a lot of that bullshit, perceived bullshit, is 3cc Mule and the power of that. So the fact that RuFF, Great Band, Canadian Trio, has elected to go for a PF here at the third is it's a strong move in a sense. You know, it's a RuFF move. It's something RuFF would do. It's a defensive move. It's kind of a mech player move, as you see a sensor tower too. But he is giving up 3cc Mule, remember that. So his income is going to go down. Vibe is already at 72 workers. He's crushing Vibe and mineral income, and usually no matter what, we see that Terran is beating Zerg in mineral income. It's almost a given in this matchup. A lot of Banshees are out, and RuFF has Banshee speed and cloak. And if we go to Vibe's vision, he did not see these Banshees, but he was going Hydra. The new Hydra is very strong. He has Hydra speed. I think he's just going to give the space up. He doesn't even have detection. Notice that he immediately has started to build spores in each mineral line. Look at all these upgrades for Vibe. Triple upgrading. Carapace, attack, and range attack. His speed just finished. He's going to chase away many of these Banshees, these speed Banshees. Now RuFF should really never lose these unless Vibe has fungal, because these are speed Banshees. These are as fast as lightning, and it's going to be very hard for Vibe to defend, even though he has the new Hydra speed upgrade. Vibe's creep spread, one thing about Vibe is he almost does this across the board creep spread where he has a lot of tumors spread across a wide landmass and then does them all at the same time. So he has this ever-reaching, just wide creep spread. For instance, look, he has tumors from here to here, so he has an entire screen's worth of tumors. So all he has to do is select them all and then spread them on the edge, and then look how good his creep spread is. It's all the way halfway across the map. Fungal goes down onto the Banshees of RuFF, but these are speed Banshees, so Vibe just has to get a fungal off while he can, because speed Banshees kill things very quickly, including a spore. But RuFF here really should just run. He's trying to kite away and get shots in, but he loses a couple Banshees there. And he did do damage. He sniped Infestors, he sniped Spores, but he could really be using these Banshees if he wanted to, like Mutalisks in Terran vs. Zerg, where if in a perfect world you always want to harass with them and eliminate losses, and harass with them and always be building your count up, but not losing them, and just using the speed to make it where you will never really actually lose them. They might take damage and you're going to draw the army of your opponent, but you won't actually ever fully lose the unit. And RuFF isn't afraid of repairing them, so don't say that, oh well, Mutalisk regen, so that's why he's not doing it. Hydra do a lot of damage. Aspire is on the way for Vibe. The burrowed Windfesters are coming as well, and a lot of Hydras are out for Vibe, and these do a ton of damage with 1-1, and he just bodies that command center. But RuFF intelligently has a hidden one. If we go to Vibe's vision, Vibe has this Overlord up here to spot for drops, not this base. You always have to be careful, especially on a big map like Whirlwind, of hidden bases. If you seemingly can't kill your opponent and it seems like their army is just instantly, not instantly, but infinitely being replenished, you might have a hidden base. Just click a ling out of your control group and do a bunch of shift attack commands. Vibe wants to attack, but he's hard pressed because RuFF is building up a tank backbone and he has speed Banshees. Speed Banshees are very hard to deal with. Vibe is basically going to have to get a good fungal off. Now, it's tricky for RuFF because RuFF does have a speedy force. But the speed does not really matter that much. As we see, Vibe tries to counterattack and RuFF has a huge army. So, oh, fungal going down here, and here it is. Here's the big play. Chain fungal going down into RuFF's army, and if this force can be eliminated, then Vibe can attack. Notice he's bringing his Hydras over, and this is what I was talking about. The power of that harassment force lied in its speed, and of course the fungal growth eliminates speed and agility, so Vibe just quashed that harassment force. And if we go to units, RuFF is trying to go to Hydra. He's not trying to go to Hydras, excuse me. He's trying to go into Ravens, which counter Hydras. Ravens are a very good late game unit, and they will be very tiresome to deal with from a Zerg perspective. RuFF has a ton of Hellions here. I think a good move, I've actually experimented this, is you morph a handful of these into Hellbats and actually leave a few of them. Usually people do one or the other, but if you do a mix, it makes it hard for Zerg to engage because they have the cone damage of the blue flame and the long fire damage from hell that Zergs of course know about from losing their drones. Vibe has a lot of lings, so he can scout around for these bases. This is a PF, so good luck dealing with that. Here comes the Hydras for Vibe. Notice how RuFF has tanks split up. Nice move by him. And because Blue Flame Hellions deal extra damage to light units, Vibe is in a precarious situation. He's trying to kill this PF. There are no SCVs up here to repair. But RuFF is in a troublesome spot. He has Ravens, but he's scanning for some reason. I guess that he's worried about Infestors fungaling him. It's not a bad scan. But Vibe has Vipers. RuFF is doing a good job of splitting his tanks, but the Ravens get pulled and body bagged. RuFF has to be very careful with this final Raven. He's floating a lot of money. He just might want to retreat here. He should be making mass Hellion. That's really what he needs, is a huge unkillable frontline force. If he had 18 more Hellbats, he could just run forward here because Blue Flame does extra damage to light units. But here we have some mind control. Remember, Vibe yanked all of the detection, so he made it where the scans had to take it, and the army of RuFF is just going to get decimated here. As Vibe used the brain control neural parasite ability to tank. Oh, and RuFF just GG's. So, Vibe knew about the fourth. Of course, the base up here died. And Vibe had this base. This base never was damaged. This base never was damaged. I mean, Vibe was in a very good position. He had Hive and Greater Spire. If we go to RuFF's vision, he knows that Vibe has Hive. So Vibe wins this game. RuFF just elects to tap out. And Vibe used a lot of spellcaster play to win that last fight. If you like this, subscribe for more.